going to OBC and again being in classes there and things they had for the children while the parents were in preaching services, and then they had recreation and different things that we would do, and I have fond memories of that. Other memories growing up in New York, some of my fonder memories were ones of spending time with my dad on the Jewel T route, and he would normally take us in the summertime when we were off school, and he would usually take one of us boys with him or one of the kids with him, and sometimes two of us, but usually just one. And those were special times because it was just you and Dad all by yourself, and we didn't get a lot of alone time, so that was always good. And we'd have a lot of fun with Dad on the truck, and he would, I can remember him sitting me on his lap in his Jewel T truck and let me steer the steering wheel down the old country roads, and standing up beside him. Of course, that was before seatbelt laws, and I don't think there was a passenger seat in the Jewel T truck. He'd just throw a lawn chair in there, would sit on the lawn chair, or would sit on some of the boxes that he would stack up. And towards the end of the day, Dad's days were always long, and I can remember towards the end of the day, he'd clear off a shelf and put put his jacket or something up in the shelf, and he'd lay us up on one of the shelves as we'd travel down the road, and he'd let us sleep up there if we were worn out from a long day of traveling with him around, seeing his different customers. And I can remember a lot of those customers. One thing good about the customers is they always enjoyed seeing him bring the kids and the little boys, and us guys, we were little tykes, and they always thought we were cute, and so they'd give us candy and cookies, and by the end of the day would normally have a pretty good stash of candy or money or something that they would dig out and give to us as we went to his customer's house. As far as my dad's family is concerned, we used to have a lot of good times going up to Uncle Larry's and Aunt Audrey's. Aunt Audrey was Dad's older sister, and we used to go up and spend a lot of time on their property. I'm not even sure where that was, but I do remember that they had a big house, and they had some property there, and we would have the run of the place. And I do remember they had cherry trees, and I love cherries. I'd climb the top of a cherry tree for a good cherry and to get some cherries, and we used to climb their cherry trees and eat their Bing cherries. And of course Uncle Larry wasn't all thrilled about that, but we'd do it and get away with it. And so we used to have some fond memories going to some of Dad's relatives' places. I don't remember, of course he was the youngest, I think, of all his siblings, and so but we would get to Uncle Larry's and Aunt Audrey's every once in a while. Those are the ones I remember the most, and visiting with them. Then as far as my mom's side of the family, my memories of my mother and my time spent with her are many, and it'd take a long time to recount all of those, but my fondest memories are one thing that I was really impressed with and have been through my life is how hard my mom worked to both my mom and dad, but mom especially, in caring for us kids and taking care of us. She worked really hard, and I can remember my fondest memories are when we were at ECA, Elmira Christian Academy, and she taught there and drove the school bus from Watkins down to Elmira, and I can remember a lot of good times that we'd have. I remember a lot of times where I got in a lot of trouble and where she would have to bail me out, but it's a wonder that we ever made it. But Mom was always sacrificial in her time and in her love, and I can remember her taking good care of us, and I can remember her Avon route and her working hard and selling Avon, and just a lot of memories that revolved around work, and then two memories that revolved around leisure time and play. We used to, some of my fondest memories are when Mom would pack a picnic lunch on Sundays sometimes, and after church in Elmira we would go and either go up to Harris Hill and up at the park and spend the afternoon someplace out, maybe even out in the meadows or out in the forest, and just lay out a blanket and have a picnic lunch between church. And I can remember those summer days and just enjoying a time as a family. Sometimes Mom would take us down to the beach, and she'd go with us. When we got older there, we used to go to the beach on our own down in Watkins, and we call it the beach. It's just actually a lakefront, but we called it the beach. I don't know why. It wasn't much of a beach there, but not a beach as far as sand and everything, but we used to, Mom would take us down to the park and down to the beach there, and we'd swim and always have a good time there. And so a lot of good fond memories growing up. And then when we moved to Milton, Florida, I was about, I think I just graduated from 8th grade, so I was going into 9th grade. We moved down to Milton, and we were a year and a half there in Milton, Florida. And I think probably, as far as memories of my dad, probably Milton was some of the fondest memories that I have, because Dad worked a job that was normal hours. He went to school with us in the morning, and then got off the same time we did in the afternoon. So we had our evenings free and had our weekends free. So there was a time during that couple of years we were there in Milton that Dad spent a lot of time with us boys, and we played a lot of tennis, we played golf, and we did a lot of fishing together, and those were a lot of good times, fishing off the pier and going to Pensacola, going to Fort Pickens, and taking a picnic and going and fishing there. And we used to have a lot of good times running around Pensacola and around the beaches out there. And again, if it was free, that's where you'd find us. So, because Dad was, he wasn't cheap, he just wasn't a lot of money to go around, I guess. And so if it was free, it was good. And but we had a lot of fond memories there. And then we moved to St. Petersburg. And of course, by the time we moved to St. Petersburg, I was just almost 16 when we moved to St. Pete. And so most of my memories of St. Pete revolved around church activities and around the good youth group that we had, and growing up in those years in St. Petersburg were a lot of fond memories that we had there, and mostly again revolved around spending time with my siblings, going to different camps. And our youth pastor, Brother Ferris, was always dragging us somewhere to a camp or to a retreat of some sort, or to an activity. We had Friday night activities every year, or every week. On Friday night we had a youth group activity, and so for several years that's where you'd find Will and Danelle and myself and Joel and Grace, and would be there involved in the youth group there, and at Pinellas Park, and at the church there with Brother Ferris. And we had a lot of good memories there, a lot of good memories of camp. And of course we met a lot of lifelong friends there too. Ralph Leith is where we met him, was there in the youth group, and we have a lot of good memories of Ralph, and he became like a brother to us, and became part of our family. Johnny Holtzclaw and Timmy and Rob Angel, and a lot of the kids that Diana Angel, a lot of the kids that grew up in the youth group with us became almost like part of our family. And that was typical. Even growing up, it always seemed that there was always neighborhood kids or kids from church that were always a part of our family get-togethers and different things, Sunday afternoons, or going on vacation. Mom would let us take a friend once in a while, and we just had a lot of friends, but it all revolved around the house and the home there. We spent a lot of our time would be with kids that were part of our neighborhood or part of the church group, and they would come and a lot of times get into some trouble, but they were subject to the same rules as us kids. And they'll tell you now, if you'll talk to some of those kids that are still around, that have grown up to be adults, that Dad Slater, they were afraid of him, just like we all were, and they were subject to getting a licking just like we were. So if they acted up or didn't obey, didn't toe the line, they were just part of the family. So that included discipline if need be. But anyway, then growing up with my kids, as far as my children are concerned, I tried to replicate in my kids' life a lot of what my dad had instilled in me, and especially in making memories and having good times. And so I always tried to take a summer vacation. That's always been important to us, taking vacations, and we got a lot of fine memories traveling, and I did a lot of traveling. We traveled for 3 years on the road